leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes. I'm telling you, I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes. I'm telling you, I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
bit.
now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes. I'm telling you, I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Freaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the drive with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. Everybody done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below, then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. It warms up the algo and does us a real solid. We're also live over in the YouTube streets as well as Abstract. Oh, we're obviously live on my Abstract today. I'll go get that link and pin it up top here in a second as well. I tell you what, shout out to Dort and Mel in the chat. They have an epic first GM battle going in the chat. It was Mel edged Dort out by a full 2 seconds this morning. So Dort, well played. I appreciate the effort, but you gotta have to be quicker than that to beat Mel. I think if we go back and track the 1,023 episodes, pretty sure Mel has been the first GM in like 969 of those. But as always, I'm Cap, joined by a new co-host today, Jack, joining us from across the pond. As if you're new or you missed last week, Steve is on a little brief sabbatical. He's got a special top secret consulting project for the next month or two, doing some government contracting work. And I kid, he's not doing government work, but he'll be back just doing some important work behind the scenes and needed to give sole focus. So obviously we missed Steve, but I'm actually kind of excited. It's been fun. We had a great day yesterday with Alpha Degen, and we got our buddy Jack back today. And actually, truly am looking forward to kind of some rotating co-hosts over the course of the next month and getting to reconnect with old friends. And speaking of old friends, really appreciate you all being here. And I think we got the disclaimers out of the way. I got off the beaten path of my typical brain programming of the disclaimers, the quote opens, but obviously never any financial advice on show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky, meme coins, exceptionally risky to zero to moment's notice. Please don't put any money you can't afford to lose. Know that Jack and I hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time here in the show. We are not financial advisors, certainly not your financial advisor. Don't join us for that. Just join us for some fun, some information, and a little bit of education along the way. GM Jack, how you doing, sir? Pleasure to have you.
I'm doing well, Cap. Yeah, it's good to see your face and good to be on the show. Missing Steve as well, but yeah, look, it sounds like he's cooking up something special there. I know it takes basically Armageddon to get Steve not on this show. What is it now? Like we're way over 1,000 shows with you guys, so
This morning is 1,023. So, as my buddy Steve would say, we're honoring the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan, this morning with episode 1,023. It's a joke. Steve is on the LeBron side of the GOAT discussion, but we got a European on the show this morning. We're not gonna get derailed with NBA GOAT debate, but 1,023 this morning.
New French goat looks like he's on the block, though. Literally, man, I've been watching that 7 foot. There's just an argument now about how tall this dude is, but absolutely crazy watching him just like take over the whole space, like hitting my social media feed, which is not easy to do in basketball. I'll be honest, like not the first thing that should pop up on my feed. So yeah,
real life alien. Like the guy is real life alien. Like just literally insane. I mean, he'd be insane if he just was big, right? Like, yeah, there's not many people 7'6" on the planet. The fact that he's that large and has handles and can shoot like Steph Curry, he's like built in a lab. Like it really is insanity. I think it's as impressive athletically as like Shohei Ohtani pitching and hitting. Like the guy's just like, for a big man to play the perimeter like he plays. I think that different sports, obviously hard to compare the two, but I think it's just as impressive as being an elite pitcher and an elite hitter like Shohei is.
Well, I know the US tried to hide a little bit from all of the negativity by announcing that aliens are real. Like what was 6 to 12 months ago? I think now it's like, okay, well, we might as well bring them here because no one seemed to bat an eye, over the whole announcement that, by the way, guys, aliens are real. Everyone was like, okay, but what's going on with the economy? Like, I don't know. I don't care about aliens. Like, tell me what is going on Earth. So yeah, I think some aliens, baseball, basketball now. I'm waiting for the next football alien, soccer alien as well. It's all going to go crazy. But yeah, it's a weird time, right? It's like a weird time in the space more broadly, but it's a weird time in sports as well. Like I heard like references to Shaq, someone with that size, but also with like the core strength and the ability to like use it. I think, it's been really cool watching him play, and that movement is ridiculous for the height this dude is. Like most people that height can barely walk, like literally cannot walk, and he's out there just playing as if he's just a normal like 6'5", not 7'5" player.
I can't, I know we have some people just rolling their eyes this morning that we bring Jack on the show, and we're leaning into for the cold open. I don't know if Outer Lumen's out there, but I know there's at least 3 or 4 people in the audience that are just shaking their head thinking that, okay, we don't know cold open sports with Steve out for a month. We're gonna get like real intellect, deep conversation. So what was the point? I have a deep conversation, a really serious matter before we get into crypto and Web3 stuff. I need to get your take on, Jack, because I take my coffee serious. I'm not a coffee snob. I'm really a more so than a coffee connoisseur. I'm a caffeine addict. I'm just going to be honest. Yes. I'm a caffeine connoisseur, and I can my back from my like competitive drinking days. I can drink about anything. Like I don't like taste doesn't bother me. I drink my coffee black. I'll drink. I'm into like I'm on this. We may hit on a non-alcoholic bar kick here in a minute. That was on my mind this morning. I've been on this like kava kick, or like some of this stuff is like it's a really like almost like bitter taste, but it doesn't bother me. This new thing I've been on, and I need to get your take on this. Mm-hmm. So I have, just regular, I'm staying in Airbnb for a bit. I'm on a little sabbatical myself. Nice. And so I'm just pounding Keurigs. Like I'll take 3 or 4 breaks during the show and go fire up a, reload my coffee, just basic generic Keurig coffee. But what I've started doing, and this is, I need your opinion. I'm making basically like because I drink my coffee black, but I've started adding creating like my own mocha. This is cacao, like real cacao. And so like I'll get a shot of this, and it'll go like I'll probably last me like 3 coffees. So lately I've been adding just a little bit of cacao to my Keurig coffee for a little bit of health. I know it's not probably the healthiest, but I've convinced my brain it's healthier than like a Starbucks mocha for sure.
Oh,
but
definitely.
Ever do any like additives to your own coffee? Like you ever home make like something other than just black coffee? Because for me in the past it's just honey, or every once in a while I go on this kick where I do like the upgrade coffee or the butter coffee where it's
bulletproof coffee. Yeah, like I've tried that before. It's hard to get the ingredients here. That's the thing with the UK. Yeah, like it's not impossible, but like when those like trends really hit in a world where you are trying to, you know, basically just become a part of that trend, it takes the UK like 12 to 24 months to get what the US basically brings in on day one when it really kicks off. As soon as it hits the media, you can go get it in the US almost instantaneously, either online or, you know, it'll be in your nearest store pretty soon. UK does not work like that. Obviously, there's a ton of restrictions in terms of what you can and cannot say in the UK outside of the US. You know, you can't. I was actually talking to OSF about this the other day. I caught up with him IRL. And REKT are getting into the what is the word they use? It's not energy drink, it's
functional beverages.
Functional beverages, thank you.
And is it so he says it's not energy drinks. Did he give you any alpha? I'm guessing it's functional mushrooms. Did he share that or
no? So I don't believe it's functional mushrooms. He did give me alpha. You'll have to catch the stream or the podcast to get the deep alpha. But essentially,
Jack's becoming a consummate professional here. Look at this guy. Look at this, professionally plugging his upcoming. You're gonna have to get the stream. Like, I'll give you alpha. You're not gonna get it today. You're gonna have to tune back in. This guy with the cliffhangers. I love it. We need to do a better job of that. We do a very poor job of self promotion here on Coffee with Captain. So I'm picking what you're laying down, and I greatly appreciate and respect it.
But no, of course, like Coffee with Captain's my first home, and it's powder and then it's canned, and it isn't just caffeine. That's what I will say. He hints at a couple like deeper takes on what that's going to look like, but I don't think the formula is completely signed off yet. I don't believe it's right there. So it was a really interesting conversation. But when he was talking about the functional drinks, which, you know, again, people roll their eyes about basketball talk and sports talk at the start of the show. I know the word functional drink instead of energy drink will do the same thing to a couple of other guys, but it seems like what you can say in the US, you just can't say here. You know, the probiotic side and, hey, this is gut health. You just can't put those labels on UK drinks. That's
interesting. So that is actually, I think, I think it's a massive opportunity in the States because they're not federally regulated. Exactly. They're supplements, right? And so as long as you don't make inappropriate claims on the packaging, you can pretty much sell whatever. And then it's to the individual to do their own research, make sure it's healthy. So I do think it's absolutely helping take some of the speed to market is shortened. But man, I can't tell you how bullish I am on this. As we said, I hold some REKT coin. I hold a REKT guy. I'm a shareholder in REKT drinks. But my position is nothing that will change my life in any way, shape, or form. So it's truly not a bag bias. It is like genuinely, I have a huge amount of respect for OSF and Tabs and that team. And I think what they're doing is really good for crypto. Like what got me so excited about NFTs in 2021 was it was a new way to found and launch a startup business, a startup brand. It wasn't just about a new way. It wasn't just a new fundraising mechanism. There was a lot else with it when you talk about the community sport and the raving fans you can get and those brand ambassadors. Like can you do that in other industries? Yeah, sure. But there was something really special here. And I think we're seeing it play out with REKT drinks. And I'm truly, really rooting for them. And when I heard they were going into the, functional beverages or something along that line, it got me, I've been beating this drum for, I stopped drinking alcohol in like 2018. And since then I also am a cannabis user. So I've been for the longest time, I'm like, okay, alternative beverages that are not alcohol, the market is going to explode. And for a while it was just NA beers and zero proof that just quite frankly, what's the point? It's just, you're drinking calories that don't taste great. It's like a weaker version of the actual alcoholic version. And there really is no point. Not. Some people, I guess, maybe they just want the drink in their hand. They like the taste, but that never hit for me. But what hit for me when I started understanding and realizing that there's a whole nother market that I think is emerging. And it's, I mentioned kava in passing. We talk about the functional mushrooms. We talk about cannabis drinks. Like, not only are the canned beverages exploding, and it's got double-digit CAGR here in the States. The other thing, Jack, and I don't know if we've had this conversation, and I'll share this, my quote tweet this morning. The concept of like non-alcoholic bars is, it's the most conviction, so I was early to cell phones, and when half the US had a flip phone, I was like, everyone's going to have one of these. When 3% of the US had a smartphone, I was like, everyone's going to have one of these. So I was right on those two consumer trends. And then the third consumer trend I was right on is the phone repair business, and it was broken. Like the cell phone insurance business was broken. People didn't want to wait for a refurbished phone. They wanted their phone fixed same day. And not only did I think that phone repair is going to take off, there's going to be a trusted brand or two that becomes the national leader. And so those three retail consumer trends all hit. I should be done for all intents and purposes because I was right on three major consumer trends. And I did fine. I'm not a complaint. It's just like one of my competitors, like there was two of us that scaled nationally. The other one is literally racing Ferraris for a living, and I'm hosting X Spaces. So not all, you could be right. You can be right timing, and then you still gotta have the right exit, or you gotta swing the bat again. Anyways, I digress. As much conviction as I had that everyone was going to have a cell phone and everyone's going to have a smartphone, that there was going to be a national leader in trusted phone repair brand, I have the same, probably more conviction that there is going to be this explosion of non-alcoholic bars, lounges, cafes across maybe the globe, but certainly in the US. And I've not had this amount of conviction since those other things I just described. Like, I'm convinced of it. I'll share this and I can get your thoughts there. But like, I saw stats. Sam just said went to Austin, and half the people we hung out with have stopped drinking. What's happened to everyone? I commented, and it's kind of wild when you go through now, there's some like, hey, what do they do for socialization? And there's again, I am not a prohibitionist. I have nothing, like, to each their own. If you choose to drink, perfectly fine. I don't have anything against it. I still hang out in those environments. I hang out with people who drink all the time. Perfectly fine. It's just not for me anymore. And I think I'm not the only one. And that's been proved out now. It's not just this anecdotal stuff like stats going and saying, hey, half the people we're hanging out with have stopped drinking. It's, if you read through the replies, it's a societal shift. It's happening in real time. And, some people say, oh, it was the COVID burnout. People, everyone drank so much in COVID, they got burnt out. My take is there's so many alternatives that are functional drinks. They're social lubricants, if you will, that accomplish the same, like why a lot of people drink alcohol. You can have the same effect without getting drunk, without drinking a toxin that you're going to have a hangover the next day off of. The county I live in here in Pinellas County, there's over 50 non-alcoholic bars already. It's kind of, I likened it to, like, it's like the Austin of St. Pete. It's a little, you talk about some markets being like early to trends. It's kind of like a very like hipster market, and there also is a large percentage of people who don't drink here. But these what's so unique about these cafes and bars is they're not like 5 p.m. till 3 a.m. Jack, they're 7 a.m. till 2 or 3 in the morning. It is in the morning from 7 a.m. till, I don't know, 3 or 4. It's like a vibrant coffee shop where people go and they set up their MacBooks, they do their work during the day, they socialize. It's the new Starbucks for them. It's the third home, if you will, co-working space, all that. And then 4 or 5 o'clock, it shifts into more like nightclub, lounge, bar vibes, and they'll have open mic nights or karaoke or game nights or trivia nights. It's like they've taken basically the coffee shop model in the morning plus the bar nightclub model in the afternoon, evening. And when I say that they're booming, I could walk around the block here, take my dog on a walk, and I'll pass 5 of these non-alcoholic bars. And they're almost all of them are always busy with people in there. Here's the thing. What gets me so excited is there's no market leader. The market leader today has less than 50 locations, and they're not that good, quite frankly. Most of these, despite there being 50 in this county alone, they're mostly mom and pops. Most of the time, it's like their first retail venture. And I'm convinced someone is going to scale a nationally recognizable, trusted chain of this concept. And anyways, I'll end my rant there. Thoughts on the non-alcoholic bar concept, and then we will get into all things crypto and Web3.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Like, I feel more and more that I am aging out of some of these mainstream concepts. Like, you talk about 6-7 or Skibbity and the stuff that the kids are saying these days. I don't even want to understand it. I think with non-alcoholic bars, I definitely do. I think the thing is, the UK has an even bigger, deeper relationship, probably, you would argue, than the US does with alcohol.
I would say yes, but I would also say more responsible. It's my understanding. Like, I've never been. Well, no, you don't think, because it's become, so you're just degenerate drinkers like we were in college,
like worse, way worse. So we drink earlier. We drink from
more 18. Like, you drink younger, and it's just like you don't go out to get blitzed or wasted. Like,
no.
When we drank in college, it was like we wanted to go, again, not all the time, but it was like, let's get ripped, let's get blackout wasted. And
yeah, I think for the college era, probably level. So the college era, both absolutely antisocial, degenerate drinkers. We become a nuisance to the areas where students move to because of that. I think we're both pretty on par there. Like, the frat era is like so like culturally ingrained, even here in the UK now. Very, very similar vibes. I think once you get past that, the 21, I guess, 21 plus era, because that's when you guys can drink. We can obviously drink from 18. The bar scene here and the clubbing scene, it just doesn't go away. Like, it just doesn't. You don't age out the same way that I feel the US is starting to mature. Like, it's just 18 to, I don't know. I don't think there's a cap. There's not, like, it's not your 40s, it's not your 50s. You were going to get like binge drinkers here all the way up, and it's sort of normalized. And there's still like a very heavy connotation between like, hey, I'm not drinking tonight. Like, in the UK, that will be like, there'll be a lot of skeptics out there. Like, maybe London, slightly different, but for the rest of the UK, I think we're still like 5 years behind the US in terms of how we see that culture grow. So yeah, I'm definitely here for it. I think the big thing you touched on is the fact that we're not saying where a lot of the bar scenes in the UK will now offer, we're not just saying a sugary, fruity drink that you can get that is essentially everything but the alcohol, but it's still probably going to give you a hangover the next day if you're in your 30s, because the amount of sugar and crap that's in there.
Yeah, you may as well drink beer at that point.
You might as well.
You're drinking like 50 milligram or 50 gram. It's like, it's a Mountain Dew, masquerading as a mocktail. It's like,
exactly,
drink the booze,
and you're going to drink 8 of them a night. Like, it's going to absolutely give you diabetes if you go that route for like a 10-year period. I think this idea of like lower calorie, also, like mushrooms, weed, something that is going to be in this thing that's going to give you a better alternative. And also, I think the big opportunity that non-alcoholic beverages have in the term of like still giving you some sort of impact that you like is you can pick and choose. Like, some people drink alcohol and they realize very quickly alcohol is not for them, not because they don't like the drink, not because they don't like the experience, but because after 5 or 6 of them, they're told they're an asshole. Like, they're just like, yeah, you can't drink because we're not going to be around you if you do. Alcohol does something to you that it doesn't do to the rest of us. It's not for you. I think if you get to a world where it's like, hey, look, I'm not good with alcohol drunk, but I am good with mushroom drunk, or I am good with weed drunk, and everyone's telling me I'm just a great person, this version of drunk, that's going to be something. So I think there might still be alcohol as like an opportunity and an option, but those alcoholic drinks will probably also be mitigated in terms of hangover. Like, there'll be stuff you can just put in these drinks that aren't going to cause as big of a hangover or the other consequences. But I also think it's essentially going to be like a beer tab where it's like, hey, this one's got alcohol in it, this one's got mushroom in it, this one's got weed in it. You're just going to have a whole array of these different opportunities. And yeah, there's definitely going to be those areas where alcohol just isn't for us. It causes, just basically antisocial behavior for most people. So we're just not going to have it in our bars. And I think that's going to be a big thing too.
Yep. Nope. Well said. Von Prutton here says, I would love to see a step beyond just non-alcoholic bars, but wellness or functional beverages. So there's a reason to go. And that's the point. That's what all these are doing. They're not just sparkling water, they're serving these functional beverages that it's not the same as alcohol. It's similar in the sense that most of them are, whether it's mushrooms or cannabis or kava or kratom, or there's literally like half a dozen of these drinks now that have similar but different effects of alcohol, but they're plant-based. They're not, it's not a toxin. It's not going to make you feel hangover. And the environment, like why people go to the bars to hang out, is to have that social environment. And you don't often just see people slamming sparkling waters, having like that sort of interaction you do in these places. And it's, like I said, I think the biggest opportunity is the fact that they are 7 a.m. till 2 a.m. type opportunities, not just most bars are, I say 5 p.m. Most bars, it's like their peak hours are what, like maybe you could say happy hour, but most of them, their peak times are like 8 to 2. You know, here you're taking the bar concept and the coffee concept, combining the two, and the overhead's the same. Like, to me, it's just like no brainer. It's going to blow up. I will move on because I know everyone didn't come here to talk about dry bars on Coffee with Captain this morning, but I agree with Jack. I think probably there's a future where it's both. Some of them you're not supposed to mix. You shouldn't drink alcohol and kava at the same time, for instance, just because it could be hard on the liver. But I do think we'll see, like, one of my favorite restaurants here in St. Pete's, a small, like 6 tables, 7 tables, 8 tables, something like that. It's like farm to table. And one of their they have a mocktail section on their drink menu. There might be some that are non-functional, and maybe there are some are just like the sugary drinks, but most of them are a functional beverage. I don't think they have any mushroom drinks, but they do have a cannabis drink. They do, like, I get a Pineapple Express at this. It's like a nice bougie restaurant, and I'm there enjoying a dinner, drinking cannabis. Like, what a time to be alive. And I thought this would happen. I didn't think it would necessarily be like, I guess when I thought it would happen, I thought like the cannabis drinks would still be in the dispensaries and not full like regular retail. And here we are. And I think I'm fortunate that I'm in like the mecca of this explosion. And so much so that it's like, while I thought the functional drinks would take off as an industry, I did not think the bars, the physical location, would take off in an industry. And now I'm seeing it happen all around me. I'm like, okay, this is the thing. And yeah, this is the other thing, is like all functional drinks. If you're listening and you're in the functional beverage industry, stop putting sugar in it. Stop. Like we're drinking functional beverages because we don't want to drink the unhealthier alternatives. When you load of, and this is like, I've shared this about REKT too. Like, theirs aren't loaded with sugar. I got my liquid gold down there, but I drink them. I don't drink them. I don't slam them because I don't want the 5 grams of sugar in every glass of water I drink. So I think I'd love to see them cut the sugar completely, or at least not have loaded with copious amounts of sugar. Anyways, all right, we got to pivot though. We usually go 15 minutes to cold open. I got one of my favorite OGs on here. We end up going 30 minutes on drinking and not drinking. Jack, I've got some other thoughts on market and. Yesterday I feel like yesterday I said I'm confused. I don't understand the market really, where we're at right now. I even looked at fear and greed yesterday. I was like, man, this just doesn't seem right. Like, fear and greed seem way too high for the CT sentiment, and lo and behold, it's down in the 20s today. So like, I feel like while I was confused by the market, at the same time, I feel like I might be more dialed into market sentiment, at least CT sentiment, than ever before, as I effectively front ran the capitulation. I didn't benefit from it. I didn't make any moves yesterday, but I mean, yesterday morning on the show, I was like feeling a certain way. I was like, man, we're in the this is going to be ugly. I think I sold Solana at 175. I was like, yeah, I'm just getting bearish on Solana. I think a couple weeks ago, that was my Q4 trade for the majors. Now I'm not feeling that. How are you feeling on this market? And are you trading? Are you writing things out? Like
writing things out? Not feeling good. Yeah, it's the most logical sentiment shift with broader macro shift that I've seen so far. Like there has been at least 15 occasions over the past year where people have said, we're hitting a bear market. And I have just like laughed them off. This doesn't feel like that to me. This feels different just from a gut sentiment. I think also when you do talk to institutional investors, which I now have a privilege to do, I do that like basically weekly, like a couple times a week, you get a broader sense of the macro, and they aren't understanding the broader macro space either. Like they haven't been understanding the uptick in stocks in comparison to gold. That's been a big confusion vector for them. You know, just this like gold is ripping, but so are stocks. That is showing a disillusionment in the market that we haven't seen before. It's basically showing that there are two groups of people that are bullish on the complete opposite thing happening. If people are going big on gold, it's risk off. You know, they are saying that there is going to be some huge capitulation on the horizon, and that's why they're going big into that asset class. But then the stocks are still ripping also. And I think this is basically, you know, the gold investors are winning right now, you know, and I think that's, you know, crypto also always lags in that world. And I think that's probably what we're seeing now, is enough of that noise has got over there. But then you've also got the, you know, the money printers are looking like they could potentially still go on. And you've got like moving down in terms of interest rates, a lot more aggressive than we may have considered. I think this will, you know, propel that. I think, you know, seeing what is happening in the broader market right now alongside the crypto space, people are going to use that to show that, hey, we need to really get these printers running here. Otherwise, we are going to go somewhere negative.
I feel the same way. Where I don't have the confidence in is when, right? For a while, I thought we'd get it in Q4. I thought we were going to see a real nice run in Q4. And now I just don't know. Now I don't, because like fundamentally, macro-wise, nothing has really changed. We have incredible tailwinds, administratively, regulation-wise, like things are heading the right direction. We have institutions buying left and right, but it just, like, it feels like we need a catalyst. I don't know what that catalyst is. Maybe it is the money printers. Seemingly it's not necessarily good. The rate cuts aren't doing it as far as crypto goes. I don't know when we see a real, I don't think, I see some people like it's over, you know, bear market's here, including Jim Cramer this morning. I don't think so. It's hard for me to envision us entering a bear market when, you know, Trump got elected a year ago. He's not even been president for a full year. Next year is really going to be the push. 2026 will be their push heading into midterms. And I just can't see them going into midterms with a market that's in the shitter. I don't like, whether it's money printer, whether it's a reversal in tariffs, like, I don't know what they do. I don't know. I see government shutdown. I don't know if that really impacts the market. The one thing that I do think has absolutely impacted crypto that not nearly enough people are talking about, and I don't think we have all the information on yet, is October 10th. October 10th was a massive, it was a black swan. And we just moved on like, oh, it's just another day in crypto. And it wasn't. Like, you know, you see the talk of like, oh, is Wintermute suing Binance? They now deny that. Like, maybe in Onchain, it doesn't look like Wintermute's gotten liquidated or anything. I mean, maybe certain positions, but still, you know, known public wallets are still well north of $50-60 million, and nothing major that would have led to them, you know, thinking that they were getting wiped at their, you know, sex positions. But yeah, I don't like the right answer is probably just buy spot and chill. It is, you know, if you believe in astrology. By the way, if you tuned in yesterday, that like the 21 out of 21 supermoons and Bitcoin running 11 to 18%, that was completely made up. I didn't make it. I did co-op it. I still am probably going to open a Bitcoin long this morning, just so if I can ride with the astrology and it hits, then we're going to start longing with Leos. Are you a July birthday? Am I remember that correctly?
No, I'm not. Mine's coming up December.
I need someone born in July, or I need another Leo to co-host the astrology show with me if this hits tonight. But in all seriousness, I don't know what that catalyst may be. Maybe it is like more of a flush out. Maybe it is another leg down. And maybe that happens when we get some more information on who really went belly up. Because it's hard to believe that some of these major funds didn't go belly up on the 10th. I mean, it stung me pretty hard. First time I've ever been like actually wiped out of positions. Like I've been liquidated before, but minor stuff. That was October 10th was the first time I ever was just like zeroed out across the board. And I wasn't in. I've been playing the perp game a little bit, but it wasn't anything that was. My liquidation levels were pretty conservative, but you get that we got those wicks on the 10th, and it is what it is. And I know that there's a lot of others that were 100x, 1000x to the magnitude of me. So we're not necessarily seeing a lot of that discussed in the timeline. I think we are seeing the impact in the markets. And then the other thing, if you look at like the trenches, and I say like my bearishness on Solana, I went from a Solana bull to a Solana bear in like the last 30 days. The trenches seemingly are cooked. I caught a TG clip of Orangey, who was saying he used to get like 500,000 views on a YouTube meme video, and now it's down to 50K. He referenced like the South Park meme that couldn't even break, I think, 3 million. And he's like, a year ago, that would have been $100 million run. Or South Park even put the PFP calling out the meme in their Twitter handle, and it still couldn't break 3 million. Like, just signs that the trenches, I think we talk about these liquidations. I just think the trenchers, we're retail. There's no other retail bag. There's no one new coming in to bid our bags. It's just not happening. Not on this side, not this far out the risk curve, whether it be NFTs, meme coins, alts. Like, institutions are bidding majors. No one new is bidding NFTs, memes, etc. They're just not. So everyone that was bidding, not everyone, a lot of people that were bidding on these alts, this far into the risk curve, a lot of them got wiped. And or they're just, whether it was October 10th or just the combination of kind of a rough year in terms of alts and whatnot. What's next? I've got an answer. I know what I'm thinking, but I'm curious, what do you think is next? Whether it's a catalyst for all of crypto, alts, NFTs, or like, I feel as if we're due for a new meta. I feel as if we had our NFT season, we had our meme season, we had a little AI season. I feel as if we're like, what we need for that energy and the excitement and participation, I feel, is something new. I don't think there's a big desire to get back in the Solana trenches for those that have already left. I just don't. I don't think there's much NFT buying demand right now for those that have either holding on or they've already left. Like, I do think we're due for something new. Any thoughts on that? Or do you have a take or a guess on what might be next?
I see internet capital markets be referenced a lot these days. DATs, I saw a post from Stats, actually, we've already referenced on the show already from his drink intake, but he mentioned, when institutions come in and leverage sort of also gets applied from an institutional level, that short-term gain has never in the crypto space really been positive in the long term. Like when you do have institutional capital come in at that level, like DATs, etc., very different than like the Blair days when we could get loans, but still, it's basically new capital comes in, it eventually that leverage just gets wiped out. The market's too volatile, the space is too volatile. I don't know, but I think that's a big thing. And I do think trying to apply yesterday's logic to today in terms of crypto and what's going to happen next, now that institutions are here, now that Trump and regulation and everything's going, I don't believe you could. You talk about using astrology or using like some sort of star mark. I think it's as good as anything else these days. I think trying to check charts and history, like, unless you're zooming out historically in terms of stock market, internet boom, and things that are parallel more broadly to this industry, not using this industry's own history, you're going to get cooked. But in terms of what I see happening next specifically, internet capital markets, I think, is just a term. I see, it's the same as the ATs. RWAs, these words that like last year we were barely using, and now they basically reference 50% of the spaces that we have when we're not talking about entire capitulation or like some black swan event or some sort of like spat on the timeline. For me, basically financializing the internet and financializing assets that are held on the internet, it's coming aggressively, whether that be stocks, whether that be real estate, whether that be trying to do something different to stocks. We talked about REKT earlier on in the show. I think that is definitely coming. You know, brand coins, but like this broader definition of what a brand coin is, where hey, we can't IPO yet, and we shouldn't be ICOing. Like, we shouldn't be doing an initial coin offering like the first month of launch. Like, funnily enough, it takes more than a month to really understand how a business is going to operate over the next decade, and it's just too risky to invest in for the outcome. Like, too many people have just been burnt too many times. We talk about NFTs, meme coins, etc. They're musical chairs, and there's just too many people who have been negatively impacted by the consequence of being bullish or being loyal to a project. That I just don't know how many examples over the past 5 years, let's say, have in any way yielded positive results in a world where you haven't sold at a top. You know, like Ape's perfect example of like, hey, look, if you sold the top, there is money to be made, crazy money to be made there. But if you've just held everything right the way through right now, if you've got ApeCoin, you've got the Bored Ape, the Mutant, the Doggin, the Land, like that's nowhere near the value of what it would have been at the top. Even if you are still up, you're looking at like generational wealth just passing you by. That's where I think we're at. So I think we're at a complete reset moment. I think there is still opportunities in all of these different industries, but there's still musical chair opportunities right now. And I think long-term value, REKT, Pudgies, Bored Apes, like they are the best version of that now. It's the teams that have already been and are still here. Doodles, like I don't think the opportunity is in just spreading your bets across 500 different new opportunities and hoping one hits. I don't think the market's reacting that way now.
Oh, I agree. I think that we continue to see more consolidation. I know we've seen some, but it wasn't nearly as much as I thought on the PFP land anyways. I think we see more of that. I think these teams are continuing to work and build. And the reality is until there's, like you said, like we are almost a reset. And I think until we get that, whatever that is, however that happens, I don't know as if like price action necessarily follows. Like I as far as positive price action on NFTs, I've fully capitulated. I'm not dumping my bags per se. Yeah. But I've come to I'm not expecting any, like I've already accepted like they all may literally go to zero. I don't know. And I don't think that's going to happen. But as far as like, you know, like I saw Zuki blow an ETH. Yeah. Like there's a world where I saw Meme Land yesterday at like 0.18. And I'm like, I go, this sounds crazy. I've never thought about, I mean, I did, I guess, pre-meme token drop. But if we do get a spike, if we do get some sort of rotation back into NFTs, you could easily build a case that some of these are really undervalued relative to the market as a whole. That said, it very well could be attempting to catch a falling knife right now. I just don't know. I don't know when we see the turn. I don't know when we see like long term, zoom out like a decade. Yeah, I think I absolutely could see these leading digital artifacts become real collectibles, and demand just there's not that much supply. I think things could be very exciting long term, but over the next month to 6 months to a year, I really don't know. And I do think the space at large is kind of in need of something, a new meta to chase, something to get excited about, something to participate in that's not like, yeah, Von Fretton says government and institutional money is next, going to be boring as hell, but maybe, yeah, it is boring. It may be what crypto needs, blockchain advancement needs, but as far as the traders, the participants, it's just not fun to stable up and earn 10% yield. It's just not. They want to get involved. They want to build. They want to participate. They want to have fun. And I just don't know. I do have a take on what I think might drive it. It may not, but I said yesterday, I'm close to really leaning in to MegaETH as not just as the token or I'm going to go play around this chain. I hold a Fluffle. We've got a Fluffle in our Coffee with Captain wallet. I'm close to leaning into it as a home base because I really do think that they are positioned to capture significant. I mean, they've already proven they can capture significant liquidity and attention. I think to me, it's the most exciting new chain launch that I've been a part of since I've been in crypto. Like you think about I guess Base has launched. That was exciting. This actually feels like it's got more organic movement, momentum, and an opportunity for us to actually participate and realize beneficial upside than even did Base. And what I don't know is like, what might be that thing? I don't think it's just going to be, oh, hypers are on Hyperlink that with that NFT printed. Will there be a flagship NFT that's in addition to Fluffles on MegaETH? Probably, but that's not what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking it's an NFT collection that moons. I'm not thinking it's another meme coin launchpad. I'm hopeful. Maybe this is just my perma bull coming through, or my perma optimism coming through. I'm hopeful and optimistic that their tech, their performant blockchain, actually does unlock something new. I just don't know what it's going to be, but I'm confident enough in that team, what and how they're building, that I want to be paying very close attention to it in case the next big thing does hit. I think basically where I'm really strongly considering placing a large chunk of my bets isn't just with capital, but my focus, because if it hits there, I want to catch it early. Like a year ago, if you saw ICO Beast, like a year ago, he hit on the AIXBT trade and it changed his life. Like that still can happen in crypto. That's happening in this market, by the way. Just, they're fewer and far between, and you gotta hit it right. I think there's a probability, maybe a high probability, that next big thing, whatever it may be, could hit on MegaETH. Maybe not. Maybe the chain flops. I don't think so. And I don't know. Thoughts on MegaETH? Did you happen to get in the pre-sale? By the way, that pre-sale, $1.3 billion coming back into the market in refunds this week. Where does it go? Do they go buy majors? Do they keep it in stables? These are also people, by the way, that MegaETH, I have to go do my calculation because I actually sold an NFT and added it to my MegaETH pre-sale. The NFT is down 30, 40%. ETH is down 10, 20%. And so MegaETH, not only do I feel good about the pre-sale allocation, but they actually saved me just on giving my stables back, because those stables are worth far more today than they would have been had I stayed in my NFT. It probably, like, no joke, saved me a couple grand. But yeah, thoughts on MegaETH and get the pre-sale. And I'm going to go refill my coffee. I'll be able to hear you, but I'm just going to step away for like 30, 60 seconds.
All good. Yeah, I need a coffee refill after you. We'll tag team on that. Look, I didn't get in on MegaETH. It continues to be one of those things that I say I will look at, and I wait for like a moment where I'm like, yeah, look, this is when I'm going to really deep dive into this subject, and then something else captures my attention, or just building in this space. I think that's really difficult when you are like actually operating like from a business operation standpoint in this space, which tends to happen to a lot of us here. Like, I can see the people in the chat, like so many of us now in one way, shape or form actually are working here. And then it becomes even worse, because it's like, hey, I live and breathe this space. I am hosting 10 or 15 shows a week talking about this industry, but I'm not getting any of the opportunities because I'm too focused on actually producing great content or going to London and interviewing X, Y, and Z. We were talking about Miami, me and Cap, earlier about our Basel. I bit the bullet like on the worst possible moment when the market was completely down. I was like, I'm going to travel there. I'm just going to try and get as many interviews from our US homies as possible whilst I'm there. Now none of them will return my DMs because they're like, Jack, the market's fucked. Like no one's going to listen to you. So there is that. But no, I think from my like where I'm looking at sort of placing my bets right now, it is wider. We talked about the refund Cap was mentioning there, and like 1 billion plus re-entering the space. I think this is where, hopping all the way back to my RWA take, this is going to get more interesting when there are just safer bets to place. Because I don't think US dollar is super safe right now. I don't think people are super bullish on just going into stables the way they used to be. You could still lose 10% on US dollars this year. That has happened to me specifically last year. It was worth 0.83 dollar to pound, Great British pound. It's now 0.76, but it went to 0.73. There's a whole 10% with me just being stabled, where I lost 10%. So this is I think going to be very interesting when we do just have real world assets in stocks as a form of investment where people can just look at, okay, what is a stable stock? I'm just going to move my money there. And what happens when a whole industry does that in the crypto industry? So does Apple just see a major 10% wick on a day just because everybody's just got a 1.2 billion from MegaETH and they can just park their money in a tokenized version of Apple stock now? Like, is that a future that we see? Will it be Bitcoin seeing a resurgence? Because I still think Bitcoin is better than putting your money in dollars right now. And I don't see that changing for the next 10 to 20 years, as long as you don't have, like, it's not liquid that you're, parking. If it's liquid that you're parking, like as in money that you want to put elsewhere and place bets on, I really don't. Probably still stables in dollars. But I think I was saying about where my bets were going to be, Cap, and I guess the big bet for me is still actually projects, like businesses. So not NFT projects, but like projects with building on blockchain in a way where I don't anticipate they're going to go down the general funding route,
So
like the seed A round, etc.
I love that, and it gets me excited as well. If they're not going down the traditional fundraising, how are you participating? Is it
Brand coin?
Brand coin, and then others maybe banking on ICOs, like what beyond REKT? Or do you think are you expecting or anticipating because I'm with you. I think brand coins, I see the future, and I think what REKT is doing is could very well be carving a path towards a real next gen loyalty reward program.
Yeah,
I know there's challenges. I know it's not perfect yet, but I love it conceptually. I appreciate what they're doing, and I'm with you. But the reality is, outside of REKT, and I know we have Pingu, and some may call that a brand coin. It's different to me. To me, they haven't turned on the loyalty reward component of it yet. I don't know if we even have a second example of a viable brand coin beyond REKT. Why do you think that is? I thought we'd see a lot more by now.
I still think regulation is just a big concern. Basically what you were saying is this is a stock before a stock. Like for whatever reason, if you want, like, in some way exposure to that business, this is the only way you're going to get it. Until they do go down an IPO route, which, if you're looking even in the tech industry, which is pretty fast in terms of, speed to IPO, like from startup inception to actually launching an IPO successfully, you're talking 7 or 8 years. Now, if you look at this space and that time frame, and then businesses that actually have like chosen a route to build towards, I think we're in 2 years. We're in 2 of those 5 years. So if you see a business right now where you're like, okay, REKT drinks, for example, like if you're happy with REKT coin, you're not saying from the inception of REKT guy, this business has been built. You're really saying from the inception of, they've built REKT drinks now, which is like, what, a year and a half? Like, not even. They've only just passed a year and sold over 1 million drinks. So that's what I'm looking at is like, hey, there's not going to be a traditional seed A or an early investment opportunity for somebody to say this company is going to be huge when they IPO. The only way to do it is a brand coin. The biggest concern is, can they bridge the gap where that brand coin, if they do IPO, doesn't saturate that market, and the IPO basically just, tanks the brand coin because now there's a better, more stable way to get access to that equity. Obviously, I was having a conversation with OSF the other day about that, and I asked them exactly that question because I wasn't sold on REKT for that exact reason. We've seen it with other businesses as well. They do huge raises and their token just feels like it's almost competing. It's just not a parallel incentive line where if they do well as a business, the token does well, because then how are they going to pay the people who've invested more traditionally? I believe that for companies like REKT who haven't gone down that route and the only way to get exposure is the coin, eventually that is an early investment in that business. We talked about these drinks, and I keep blanking on the replacement for energy, functional drinks. Functional drinks is $1 billion industry. to the point where you have, I think, 7 or 8 companies that launched in the past 10 years, some as early as 7 years, that then IPO'd to billion-dollar valuations, either bought out by Pepsi or like another like huge energy drink conglomerate, or they just IPO'd and they are now making that money. So that's what I see growing. In terms of other opportunities to do that right now, I think Klanos is next up. Talking about being negative on Solana. I think what they're doing with animation and IP and what they're going to do to their token. It's another interview I had with Andrew that hasn't launched yet, the CEO of Klanos, but I'm really bullish on them, and that's all I'm doing right now. Is I'm trying to take the bear market opportunity of not anyone wanting to do videos to just go and get my bucket list interviews, and then that's getting me really bullish on the long term. But it could. I'm looking at these things as a 10-year horizon. I'm thinking regulation will have to be cleared before I see any sort of return on these investments. And when's the best opportunity to buy as well? I'm not sure that is going to be by holding the NFT or getting in on mint. I think it could be, just picking it up on secondary during like a real down bad period of time.
Yeah. I think I agree with everything you said there. I guess where I have a concern, or my and, is like, what does that do for the legacy NFT brands? What does that do for Pudgies, for Apes, for Doodles, for Azuki? How do they reset? How do they reset? And because the reality is, most, if not all of them, are already past like the point of their life cycle where they can launch a brand coin. The one exception might be Burbs, and they have Burb token coming. But even them, it feels like, okay, that's then what, right? Like how do these legacy PFP brands, because Von Frunton agrees with you, we're entering mass tokenization here for blockchains, exactly what we wanted. We're focusing on who's enabling this move. You're talking about real businesses. I love that. That's what got me so excited about crypto in this space. I'm so bullish on MegaETH, not just how they're building, how they raise. They did the early, basic friends and family round. They did the Fluffle round, which was an NFT that led to it's leading to allocation. They did essentially an ICO on Echo, which is now owned by Coinbase. I could just see this path of, like, it is what we wanted, right? Like, why I got so excited about NFT brands in 2021, 2022 was betting on founders. Like, I wanted to be an early investor in this business, knowing I didn't hold equity. But if things worked out, value should accrue back to this original asset as an early supporter. And that did work out in many cases. You mentioned Apes, and if you... Holding, is it down from all-time high? Yeah, it is. But if you minted an ape, you had multiple opportunities to pull out well north of 6 figures throughout that run. Even on just one of those airdrops. Forget like selling mutants at the Pico top or ApeCoin at the Pico top. Like, there was multiple dividends that were provided for those holders. Like, that's kind of where I'm struggling with the legacy NFT collections, though, is it's harder for them, I feel, because they've already checked off those boxes on their life cycle. And I do think that it's from a participation, or like what to trade in this market, or what am I looking at? I do feel it's like, I want to, similar to you, I want to, who's building a real business? Who's building a real business that's going to have a real revenue stream and real customers, and they're doing so leveraging blockchain technology in this mass tokenization, whether it's a loyalty program or they're bringing RWAs on chain. And by being early, whether we're minting an NFT to show our support, whether we're participating in an ICO, like, that's the sort of opportunities I'm looking at. Question to you, though, is like, how do these legacy PFP NFT brands, how do they recapture excitement and participation in new net buyers?
I think they rebrand or they die, honestly, Cap. I think it's a point where I don't know how much they can even say legally. I think that's the biggest issue they have, is I think they have to acknowledge the fact that the only way their token that they've already launched is going to be successful is when they do go through a full official IPO, when they have figured out their business model. And I think they need a business model, by the way, for those who just don't have any version of that yet. When we talk about the the older brands. And if that token does not equate to a transfer in actual equity ownership at the end of the day, I don't think they survive it. Like, I think it's that simple. It has been that simple since the dawn of all of these projects. The ownership of any asset that people were paying tens of thousands of dollars for, or the tokens or the secondaries or whatever, there was definitely a mentality throughout all of these that they were more than a collectible. There always has been. And I think any founder that tries to argue the reverse of that, like, no, this was just going to be a Charizard, you know, like if the brand gets huge, then this card is going to be worth millions. I think they're just completely out to lunch with their responsibility to those holders. And they need to understand that they're only operating a business right now because of the money that was injected to them from those holders. And they need to return that. And they need to return it as if it was a seed A investment, even if they can't say it right now.
Yeah. Tavon Frutton, appreciate you in the chat as always. He adds this: legacy NFT brands need to give you a reason to buy the token. Yeah, make it part of the ecosystem. I want to actively participate in it. I.e., if I'm a gamer, otherwise it's a side quest. I know I'm biased. I do think Yuga is doing the best job of this right now. It's not for everyone.
So bullish on Yuga right now. Like, I'm looking at the project. Yeah,
per se. I'm extremely impressed with what they're doing with Other Side. How they're doing it. Their partnership with Amazon. Like, they're doing this thing. It may not pump your bags right away. It's certainly not for the apes and the mutants. Mm-hmm. But it's also like, I don't think those floor prices are down because of anything that team is doing or not doing. I truly believe it's just a symptom of the market right now.
Yeah,
the overall NFT market is just getting crushed. Alts are getting crushed. Majors are down, and that said, they're doing all the right things. Like, you want a reason to earn the token. I gotta go find it so I don't I don't want to misspeak here, but I'm pretty sure these, at ApeFest, they had these big collaborations. Yeah, here it is. They had these big collaborations with these streetwear brands. I didn't think much of it. I'm not a streetwear guy. Like, it's like about aging out of things, but it was cool. Like, I respect, it was the top sneaker maker of the year. The hoodie was awesome. I saw it when I first saw it, like, it's not for me. But when I saw it in person, I really wanted one. I was actually shocked this morning to see that not only are they selling on secondary, these sneakers, which were free. So if you didn't even have to hold an ape, but you did, you got free access to Complex Con if you did. So there was absolutely real perks for being a holder. In addition to ApeFest, you got a chance to win a pair of these for free. They're selling for $1,200.
I'm gonna have to zoom in on this. They look ugly to me, but ugly is in.
Yeah, they're not my style either. They look like some dad shoes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
No offense to John Geiger. I get it. He's a sneaker guru. The kids like him, but $820 plus for a hoodie, $1,200 for sneakers. These were free.
Yeah, like, this is 6-7 and Skibbity all over again. I don't understand it, but I appreciate that it's here. It's hit the zeitgeist. Like, ugly. I like streetwear, but I just don't like ugly streetwear, and that's like it's a funny composition that space has got now. Like, to be cool, you have to go against what everyone's wearing, and people don't wear ugly shit. Actually, I take it back. I love the $7,000 ones.
they things look a lot nicer when
I didn't see the price. I swear to you, Cap, this is just me. I did not see the price. I just love the beige. I love the mold is slightly different. They're a little bit more curved. I very much would wear them. I would not wear the bright white, bright green ones.
So I will agree. I like them better as well, but there's not a world that exists where I'm paying $7,300 for sneakers. I'd buy, if I won them for free, I would be sprinting to StockX right now, and I'd be undercutting that $73.82. I would be pricing it at $73.69, and then I would manually Dutch auction until they sold, because that's a lot of money for a pair of sneakers that I like. I guess I could wear, but point being, they're doing all the right things from my perspective. They've been really crushing it from an execution standpoint. And it's not equating to number go up on the NFTs right now. Yeah. But again, you talk about what do you want to identify? I'd much rather, and again, I'm holding, I'm not, so I guess that's the same as, I'm not selling, so it's the same as buying the price today. I think if we get a an actual NFT season, if we get people rotating back into this category, it's very hard for me to see a scenario where these brands like Apes that are moving the way they are don't see a spike, that they don't see a tremendous run up because of how the team is executing. Like some of this stuff, had this been happening in 21, 22, the Amazon announcement alone would have 2-3x the floor, right? It's just again, it comes down to buy pressure and new net buyers. And right now we're just all rotators. Maybe this 1.3 billion comes back in. The one thing I will say, I'm not sure if he's still out there. I saw Shocker Man Dan early this morning. I saw Art Chick. I saw shout out to Psycho Kitty. I've seen a lot of OGs in this space have recently bought an ape back, bought back their original ape, started rocking a ape PFP again. There's something there. It's not enough to move the floor price, but to me, that's real signal. When you see people like Shockerman Dan or Art Chick, regardless of what you think of her, like these individuals identifying, okay, it's kind of like cementing apes. Like it might be a falling knife. Yeah, but it's going to bounce at some point. They're not going away. They're not going anywhere. There's just not enough of them. And there's too many people in this space that understands what they did for the space. Right.
Yeah.
So again, it's not the only one. I've seen, I'm sure there's others as well. My timeline, I've seen, I don't know, half a dozen high prolific accounts have bought an ape or switched their PFP back to an ape within the last week. Ming, by the way, had an awesome recap video of ApeFest. I'll go grab that and put it up top if you missed it.
Yeah, look, I think, I was speaking about bucket list interviews, and I'm just like trying to capture the fact that, there's less noise in the space right now and hopefully get those times. Gog is like one right now because of what he's doing for apes. I think Otherside is the coolest concept that I've seen come out of NFTs. Like the first concept, and this is where my mind is now going, is with regulation, an SEC probe into Bored Apes doesn't happen. Where would it be right now? Because I think that's where we're getting to. We're getting a full reversal where people don't need to worry about SEC probes, and their original vision, they can just go back to. And I think those original visions were fucking cool. Like this idea of having land that generates a token that, could be a brand token as opposed to just like a game incentivized token that you would want to buy back. If this is like an asset class that has never existed before, that you can get by owning land and playing a video game that's actually fucking cool to play, and probably one of the coolest games to play because of the fact that it's got a whole economy that you can extract into the real world if you want to. That is so dope to me. I would have a mobile version of this ASAP. I know they've got incredible teams working on this where you can just have the land and it's like Clash of Clans, like depending where your land is based. I remember all of that initial excitement over like trying to get as close to the actual yacht club at the center of the metaverse as possible. Bring it all back. Just bring it all back. Stop worrying about regulation. Obviously, don't do anything illegal right now, but stop thinking that we're in a world that we were in 5 years ago. We're not. And it's only going to get easier, is my belief. And I do think there will be a world where we can literally just say, yeah, that token equals equity now. And it's just it's not a thing. It's not a concern. Yes, you might have to pay taxes on it. And I know people are going to hate that, but I don't think it will be taxes on just the ridiculous world in securities. I think it will be a very, very small percentage. I think these things and these assets will be treated like they should be treated. I really do. And yeah, give me as many pieces of land as I can. Honestly, give me every asset I can get as well. Give me a Bored Ape, give me a mutant, give me what are the little creatures called? Coders. Yeah, I had Yoda in my head. I knew that was wrong. But yeah, coders, give me the whole thing and just make them interact where it's a multiplier on that land that gets me to a brand coin, that gets me equity into that company in the long term. And I don't care if it takes 10 years because I'm playing a game that I enjoy and I can see number go up, even if it isn't quite connected. I know that connection will happen one day and then the market will basically reassess because of that. Yeah, I'm so gold for this. To to Dort on in terms of what shoes you like. I'm an Asics guy. Like I like semi-ugly shoes. Maybe it was purely just the image was a bad image. If you want to know what I'm wearing right now, there's some really scuffed OG Nikes because I've got a brand new puppy and she is just going to town on my good stuff. But I have good stuff as well. Like I've got some like crazy collaboration shoes here. So I think if I've got any next to me, no, I don't. But yeah, I can show you the sneaker collection anytime. Not many sneakerheads will be disappointed with my collection.
I will. Yeah. I'm going to have to show off. You evoked the new puppy. I'm going to have to pull it up here in a second. Before I switch screens here, you mentioned the Club Island, and one just sold overnight. One sold for 6 ETH. The floor on the other deeds like 0.13, 0.11, something like that. One just sold for 6 ETH overnight. The Nexus, the next activation inside of Other Side, the next world, if you will, to go live, the home of the Kodas. It goes live on November 12th, so about a week out. And I'm like you, like I'm really excited for what does this is Lilo is your new one.
Yes, yeah. So I got a Stitch at home. Lilo is currently being socialized, so she's coming to everywhere with me, basically.
Beauty. She can eat as many shoes as she wants.
Yeah,
cutie.
Yeah.
My down bad recently on sneakers and shoes and dogs. Mine is. I mean, he's still a pup. He's a really good dog. Doesn't tear anything up. The one thing he has like an obsession with is just chewing on shoes. I don't know why. So recently he got my. Do you remember the Adidas collaboration with Apes, and they had the fuzzy shoes, like the more rare ones?
Oh, he
gnawed off the back heel of those. I was like, I can't. There's nothing I can do about it. They're done. My Bape ones are still in the box, so he's not got those. But yeah, my second best Ape shoes that probably couldn't have flipped him for $7,000, but those are not going anywhere in the secondary market now.
Never go get Lilo. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna grab Lilo.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna clip over and just show one other thing I pinned up top. And go ahead and grab the doggo. And this is just confirmation. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe Jack. The rise of functional beverages among millennials and Gen Z as alcohol intake has decreased, especially in younger demographics. Functional beverages with additional health benefits have become popular. The global functional beverage market is valued at $175 billion. That's in 2022, and expected to rise to $340 billion by 2030. Almost 2x in 8 years. That's insane CAGR, and it is just heating up, and it just makes sense. Like, I'm going to read this again. The younger demographic, especially, is going from alcohol, which is like, again, I'm not knocking it. It's fine if you drink, but it's factually, it's a toxin. So they're going from something that's toxic to put in your body to a beverage that makes them feel good, gives them that social lubricant, and isn't, instead of being toxic, it actually has health benefits. Seems like a no-brainer. I know I sit in a biased seat due to my lifestyle, but I am really pumped, and something I've been thinking about, deliberating for a while. And this conversation combined with Stats post this morning, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger. I've been talking to a local brand. They've got one location. They've got a distribution arm as well. And they'd like me to help them scale. I've been kind of putting it off, but I think I'm going to, you might have to pull the trigger. It's just too much. I'm convinced it's going to happen. Someone's going to do it, and it may not be me, but I know one thing is for sure. I would absolutely be kicking myself if when 10 years go by and this happens and it becomes mainstream, becomes a $340 billion plus industry, and I just decided to stay on the sidelines. I won't. That would be regret. So look at the cutie. How old?
10 weeks.
Cute doggo. And what kind?
Bulldog, English bulldog, like traditional. She does starfish when I carry her. But yeah, she's adorable. She is giving my partner no peace. So I said I'd be on camera. I've realized though, I've got my OG. I like my plugins, my plug-in headphones. They probably aren't going to last on a show with her because she will definitely go for the cables.
So let me ask you that then. A quick derailment. You plug in the headphones to your
laptop.
soundboard.
Laptop.
Just directly into the laptop.
Yeah. If I'm on a show like this, if I'm on like a spaces that I'm hosting, then yeah, they go into the soundboard. just in that front slot, and they're just way more comfortable. You don't lose them. They don't need charging. Like, you know, they're just good to go. I don't really have any issues with sound quality. At which point, you know, you're just listening to a person speak. They're way more comfortable than anything else I've got. And, you know, the weather still is like warm for me here. I know we did a little cold open off the show about the weather, but I can't put overhead headphones on for more than an hour. I'm going 4 shows back to back after this, so I'm going to do 2 hours here and then an extra 4 hours from 4 p.m. my time, with a couple of just really, really cool brands. You know, talking about brand coins outside of this space. I'm not going to plug any of them on this show, but like, just genuinely, when you do have those like sort of deeper conversations with brands, there's some really cool shit being built here, like robots and how to speak to them through the blockchain. You've got, obviously we talk about gaming, but I think gaming infrastructure is a huge opportunity in the space. You know, like right now, I think Roadblocks pays a couple of billion a year to AWS, Amazon servers, just to keep that game online for their millions of players. Like, that space can definitely be very, very much disrupted with blockchain tech, with DePIN. If you've not heard DePIN be referenced, yeah, that's another one with RWAs, DATs that I hadn't heard 12 months ago, and now I hear it a couple of times a week, with people who are very smart building in that space. So yeah, loads of stuff there.
Love it. And please do plug. If you've got a link to Spaced or wherever you're hosting later, please pin it up top. I'm sure there's people would like to follow along, and it's the least we can do for you spending a couple hours of your busy day with us is to give you a chance to plug where you're going next.
Yeah, just go to my account. Like, you know, you'll see the little blue bar come up. It'll be an hour after this show ends. I will start. That one is actually a project IOPN. They're basically putting a country on the blockchain. I swear to God, Cap. Like, they're
an existing country or a brand new
an existing country in Africa. They're tokenizing it, from passports to functionality to everything. It was really early alpha, I heard a couple of weeks ago. They still haven't gone specifics in terms of exactly what country. I think we're talking an island, you know, like start. I say start small.
It's like, somewhere, right? Like, I mean,
it's still ridiculous conversation that we were having right now. And yeah, just like kind of crazy. Beamable for what I've just spoken about, DePIN infrastructure. They helped build the FIFA game that came out recently on the blockchain. They've helped build like a couple of things. So all of those things are happening today. And that's just one day, dude. That's one day. I do Somnia, if you've heard of how well they've done recently. That, again, you know, it's a blockchain, but it's gaming infrastructure. It's just making things cheaper that you can put these games completely on a blockchain. That's I honestly, I think that's definitely a big part of this like Web3 future we talk about.
Yeah, I agree. It's exciting and getting a lot of love in the chat. For anyone that asked, I dropped the banner there so you can see it. Jack is it's at JackGK_BTC on X here. If you haven't given him a follow yet, make sure you do that and go give him some love, some support later today. I got a busy day today, but I will at least try to tune in background, because it feels like we're like talking through this. It has really kind of been refreshing for me this morning, because I've just been feeling a certain way, and it's not FUD. It is just uncertainty. Like, I feel uncertain with the market, not knowing from majors to alts to NFTs. But what I do believe is the industry is in the best spot it's ever been. I do believe everything is coming on chain. So I think it's just like, be patient, take a deep breath. If you need to go step away from crypto Twitter or the internet and go touch grass for a week or a month, go do it. Just don't go away. Don't leave, because I do think there's a world where we're on the precipice here of the next big thing. And it does make, I mean, we're already seeing it happen. RWAs from, even if we just go collectibles, like Pokemon's coming on chain, right? You're seeing the popularity in the packs, things like BZ and those platforms that are tokenizing these traditional collectibles. You mentioned real estate in passing. I had an incredible conversation with someone out at ApeFest I can't. There may or may not have been some fungi involved, and I don't want to violate any friend DA.
Yeah.
So I had to check myself there. I was about to share something. I'm just not sure if it's public yet what she's actually building. But I'll just say that like this idea of bringing real estate on chain for me has been one of the things that made the most sense since I learned about Ethereum and that you could build on the blockchain and smart contracts. It's like the idea of title agencies and notaries is laughable to me. Like I don't know if it's 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. We will look back and we will laugh about, you remember we had to go see the signature priest to buy a property?
Yeah. Like
someone actually had to say they saw me sign my name and then they had to authenticate that. Like a human being had to do that. They sound archaic. That is ridiculously archaic. Not even talking like DocuSign. We now have it can be like, it's just a notary can be faked. You could go to your aunt who's a notary. Like there's just, blockchain is so much better to track these assets, to authenticate these assets, to know if there's any liens against these assets. Like it's going to happen. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't yet. I know regulatory.
That's the thing.
Has been a challenge, but do you mentioned one in passing, like, is there one that you're looking at? Do you think like we might be getting close? Like, again, you probably connect some dots. What I was alluding there with my new friend Michelle that I'm not going to talk about yet, but I will have her on the show at some point. I don't want to share something I'm not supposed to be sharing yet. So not trying to be vague or cryptic either, but you can probably tell where the dots I'm attempting to not connect here. But yeah, are you aware there's any brand or business that is doing the state on chain thing that you're looking at?
Yeah, I know there's a couple projects out there right now. None I'm confident enough to share in a way where I would want people going and picking up their token. And not because I don't believe in them. I just think the space is so nascent that if you're not in real estate previously, and that's a big thing about the Web3 spaces, there's all sorts of investors here, but retail is the predominant word. I don't think that they are at a scale where you probably should be looking at them for exposure just yet. And the reason I say that is because I don't know which way it's going to go. I think right now we have a lot of projects who are trying to do that work on their own. So they're like, all these regulations, and it's global real estate, right? So this isn't just about giving cap access to invest in properties in the US. It's about giving me access to invest in properties in the US and cap access to invest them in the UK if that market is attractive to him. And I think the big thing that makes sense to me in terms of the long term of this all working out is the fact that I think millennials and below, unless they're going to come into like some sort of crazy pot of money through through some event that isn't the work that they do, they feel priced out of the housing market at this point. And I think, unfortunately, that's not going anywhere. I don't think there is going to be a real estate capitulation that we saw in 2008 ever again, like just ever. Not to that scale, which means
it's not because the institutions have stepped in. Like it's. I don't know if you're seeing it in Europe. We're seeing it here. Like
BlackRock and
BlackRock's basically the floor in the market. Anytime there's a dip, they're buying them all up. It isn't like if you really look into the data, it's insane how many of these single family homes are now owned by these institutions. And they're inflating the floor. They are. Yeah. It's the housing market would be far, far, far worse than it is currently if it wasn't for the BlackRocks of the world buying these floor properties. And I've been talking, like I've had like not an official segment, but I've been looking at real estate in the market I'm living in for, I don't know, 6 months now. And so we've had mostly cold open, but a little bit of digression and talking about real estate. And the one thing that's very clear to me is exactly that. These institutions are buying. It's kind of propping up the floor of these markets, and they're not selling into WETH bids. My broker here locally, he told me, he said, I've got 8 contracts in property right now. 7 of them are below, the offers are insane, like $100K below asking price. And we're not talking multi-million-dollar properties. They're like $500,000-$600,000 homes that he got in contract offering $100K below their ask price. So we did one, and it was like, I don't know, it was like it was not even $100K. It was like 85 less below asking price. And I asked him, I was like, we don't get an answer back from that offer. He says, Chris, it's the worst response I've ever gotten from a listing agent. They actually told me, he's like, I don't take insulting offers to my client, which I'm not a realtor, but that's illegal. Like,
legally, I think they have to.
The realtor has the fiduciary responsibility to take the offer to their client. So he's like, I'm going to go to their broker, and like, Chris, they may lose their license over this. Like, it's literally illegal. They're not allowed to do that. They have a responsibility to share the offer with their client. Wouldn't you know? Guess who the client is?
BlackRock.
It's not. I don't know if it's BlackRock, but it is absolutely an institution. It's like they're like a real, like a human, like an actual person that's selling their primary like they're taking these lowball offers right now because it's mostly in many markets, it's the only offers they're getting. Like a couple years ago, you had to offer 20-40% above ask price just to get a response. Now the inventory is stale. The floor is being bought up by the institutions, and they're not selling into bids. In fact, they're just not even considering the lowball offers because they're not sweating their carrying costs of the mortgage for the home they're not living in, right? It's really had a tremendous impact on the housing market. Another thing most people aren't really talking about, and I think you're right. I don't think we ever see another 2008 crash again, because this isn't subprime individuals that are overextended and buying homes they can't afford. This is the largest wealth managers in the world that own a lot of these properties, that have bought a lot of the properties in the last few years, and they're not forced sellers. They're not getting liquidated. Like, they don't have to sell these properties. Like, so it's like, I think you're exactly right on that front. I don't know how we got off on the real estate tangent.
RWAs, right? It was like actually putting them on chain, and you're dead right. Like, I think because of exactly the scenario you've just pointed out to, and like talk about like going off track, you didn't at all, at least not from where I was going to take this, is if BlackRock can do it, retail should be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like this just fundamentally, if we're now competing with BlackRock to access a home as a family, then we should be able to get exposure to that market by competing as a whole.
Yes.
You know, we look at GameStop, and you look at like what that did to the VC shorters. I think that's what we're going to see in real estate, is that maybe owning a home, at least in terms of a dream home, is just going to become more and more difficult. As the years go on, I like, unless regulation comes in to like change what is currently happening in the space, I think the next best thing is to say, well, as a retail investor, I can still get exposure, and now I don't need to buy a property to get that exposure full outright or with a mortgage that I need to be able to afford by going through all of these checks that I actually can't pass because I've been renting for the past 15 years and they won't consider that those rental payments as good credit. So instead, I think what will happen is we will fractionalize these properties that are currently going to BlackRock and to other investors, and we will offer the investment opportunities to people who just want exposure to the market. So if they have 10K and that's not enough to get onto the housing market where they are right now, they can at least get exposure in a way where that 10K competes with the market that they're trying to get into. You know,
in your vision, do you see this playing out like these homes get tokenized, they come on chain?
It's happening.
So we all can have we can own tokens. We can own a percentage of that property, right? We can have our tokens are backed by this real estate investment.
Yeah, that's happening. There are companies already doing that successfully.
Is there another wave to where that could potentially lead into fractional ownership, and you could like a next gen timeshares? Where my brain's always went when we're talking tokenized real estate is, okay, yes, it's an investment property.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it should appreciate in value, but oh, by the way, it's a rental property or it's an Airbnb, and holders of this token are now going to be able to participate in the actual revenue stream. I know we're borderline security talk. I was placed here by some third party I don't know in case of a federal investigation. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just sharing what I heard online. But the idea of, and so I think there's a couple things here. One is like, I just want to participate in the asset class. I want to own real estate or a portion of that of a real estate, an index fund. The second being fractionalized ownership, where it's like a better version of a timeshare that's easier to sell. It's more liquid. I can sell fractions of it. And oh, by the way, if I want to go stay there 1 week out of the year, 2 weeks out of the year, I could also do that. And I think the third, which is more difficult for me to get my head around, is there a path where you can see that actually leading to home ownership, right? Is there a world, and it's not clicked for me yet, but could real estate be disrupted? Everything you just described is very real. Like the younger generation, a lot of them have just given up the idea of home ownership, at least a dream home. Is there a world where it's the new like rent to own, where because it's going on chain, there's some financial mechanics where they're buying into that property on a monthly basis. It's still covering, I don't know. Is this making any sense at all? Is there a way to like, okay, there's $1 million property on the water over here. It's on chain. I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to be buying $3,000 of tokens every month. That's going to be treated as my rent obligation. And then in 10 years, I can redeem all my tokens and I own the property. So it's difficult than that. But do you see where I'm going? Is there something there? Is anyone attempting to do this yet?
So yes, in a way. So I think it's more broader exposure to the real estate market that you're trying to get access to. Say you want to get access to a very specific neighborhood in the US that price is just appreciating at a rate that even if you saved the deposit today, it would take you probably 10 years to get to that value of that deposit today. And within that time, the cost would have tripled. So actually what you saved up is a deposit for 10 years ago. And now you need triple the amount of money just to get that same property that you were saving for. I think there will be a way where properties in that specific area will be investable into from a fractionalized standpoint, that you won't buy that individual property when it comes onto the market, but you can say, well, my money has just been going up with that property. So I have been saving for that inevitability of trying to own a home here. And now I know full well that I have the down payment that I need, because I've been putting, instead of, let's just say 100K for easy math, I've been putting that 100K investment on a monthly, weekly, annual basis, whatever that might be, into that exact market that I'm trying to buy a home into. So even if now it costs me 300K to get access to that, I'm so much more close to that number because it's been inflating. And of course, like you would have been doing that all the way through. So it's not a perfect system, but it will get you way, way closer than, just putting that into traditional investment stocks, ISAs that are way more variable. And that, we're basically, I think what we're talking about here is the non-digital gold. Like, I think real estate is gold now. I think it's harder to get a property built in some of these neighborhoods that we're talking about than it is to mine gold, and it's more costly.
You can argue it's a more finite resource. There's an argument to have that land is more finite than gold. I don't know. Someone could probably, I'm sure, could prove me wrong, but it's they're definitely not creating any more land unless you're in Dubai and they're building islands. Like, very, very, very few of that, very little that happens.
Buildable land as well, Cap. I think that's the thing, right? Like, it's buildable land, developable, a land you can develop on in the exact area that you want to live as well. Like, when you put that down, then it's zero. Like, then it is more scarce than gold. You are buying a property that already exists for the most part, because the reason those properties are so valuable is because you can't build any more of them. And there would be a ton of people with financial incentive to not allow you to build any more properties anywhere near that location. And the more valuable that home is, the more likely that there's not going to be another one built anywhere near it, because then, you're talking people with millions, if not billions of dollars saying there's no way I will let another property be developed here because it will be bad for my bottom line. And also because I don't want to live next to anyone else. Like, there is a reason I want this capped at a price that only the top 1% or the top 0.1% can get into. It's because I'm one of them and I don't want to be near people who aren't. This is just the world we now live in. So I'm so with you. I think the alternative to the bullishness, like why I am not like naming any specific projects right now, is because the regulation that actually is required to get that level of access, it's a case-by-case basis. You are buying a single property right now and going through years with the best lawyers in the world who have been doing this for the longest time just to get this thing tokenized. Like, maybe it's less, maybe it's the same as just purchasing the property now, but you have to have the asset class bought and paid for. I think, honestly, the reason BlackRock are doing this is because they foresee that future too. Like, the properties that we're currently being priced out of, they will give us access to them fractionalized, and they will be charging a heavy premium for it. But then there is access to that market.
Yeah. Well said. I agree. And like I said, I use the word refreshing. It is refreshing. It does excite me. Like,
yeah,
this is the stuff I'm trying to get outside of my own head with the market being just in the shitter. Like, it's depressing to look. You know, I mean, I should probably just take the widget off my phone, but it's depressing when you open it up and it's not only everything red, but you got ETH down 5% on the day, Bitcoin down 3% on the day, Pingu down 10% on the day, REKT down 13%, Ape's the big winner, only down 6% on the day. It's just like not a good feeling. Fartcoin at 24 cents, like, that's insane.
Where was Fartcoin? I've not been. Was it at $1 at one?
Well
point?
over $1.
Yeah,
well
it was like nearly $2.
Yeah, I think it almost ran up to 2 billion, and then it's now 240 million. Hype last week, Hype was pushing $50 again. It's down to 37. Like, it's just, the market sucks, and I think it sucks during a time where a lot of people didn't anticipate it sucking. And
thing, October.
But all that said, like, the underlying stuff, like the actual fundamentals of the industry, you could say are more exciting than ever before. So it's like, I think we will catch up. I'm hopeful. I also am realistic to think that we may need some of these things to come through and be that next meta, to be that next big thing, to where it's not just it's not just solving a real world issue or a problem or enhancing something because we're bringing it on chain. It's actually creating a groundswell or a movement where it's not only those of us that are here rotate into and get excited about and start, bull posting on the timeline, but it's something that gets new participants in the space. And I think what new participants does is they may get in for one thing, whether it was NFTs or meme coin trading or AI agents. Maybe they come in for RWAs on chain. Maybe they come in for real estate on chain. And then once they start understanding that blockchain tech unlocks a lot more than just finances and DeFi, I think they start exploring other areas. My take is, I just don't think we've had that thing for a while now. Yeah. And I know some say, oh, memes did it. Maybe so. I don't think it brought in serious people. I think it brought in degenerate gamblers who just wanted to gamble on chain. And then once that dried up, I don't think they necessarily went and explored like the NFT entrance did in 21, 22.
They got burnt immediately, Cap, right? They got brought in by Trump, and maybe some smart people did get brought in by Trump, and immediately Melania launched, and immediately all those people lost money. You can't say an event that is going to bring more people in exists where every single person it brought in lost money and left. Like, that's essentially where we're at. And I think the data reflects that, right? And even for those wallets that still exist, I think they're ghosts. Not in the sense that nobody has access to that wallet anymore, but in the sense that unless the media talks about how Trump now is at 100 billion and anyone who bought it is a millionaire, those people aren't coming back. Like, they are going to need a other event to bring them back into the space. And if anything, they are more skeptic. They're probably more skeptic now than they were before they came into it in the first place, because their first experience was losing a ton of money.
Yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah.
And that probably hasn't fully fleshed out yet. Or those people, like you said, they came in, they got burnt, they left. They're not going to come back the next month, right? And we really, since meme season, we really haven't had another thing, right? Am I mistaken, or was that like the last thing we had that could have been a real? I mean, maybe you could say the Pokemon stuff if those collectors have come on chain, but I still think that's kind of almost segmented, right? I think because
are we talking retail or can we talk institution as well? Because institution, you got Circle. Like that IPO was it. That was the moment. You've got ETFs. I think Bitcoin ETFs just hit the UK not long ago, so I can finally get exposure, through that vehicle as well if I do want to refinance it. I think, institutionally, like, it's happening every day, and the conversations we're having around real estate, I think that's probably the longest real world asset in terms of that world becoming real that we can talk about. But in terms of like just putting stocks all on chain, These assets that already trade digitally very freely, and the regulation is already there, and you're literally actually just putting an extra security layer on top of that. I think that is coming within the next 12 to 24 months. In terms of what that does to the meme coin space, the NFT space, the space that we're operating in right now, and bringing more people in, I don't know. I don't know if it's more we need to be a little bit more realistic with the space that we're in, and using the opportunity of the fact that we're here early to find those next opportunities, whilst still keeping a finger on the pulse of the stuff that brought us here. I would be surprised if, honestly, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a MegaETH or some sort of institutional play supported by institutional funding that does make the next generation of crypto people millionaires. Yeah, I don't think it will be like a completely degenerate meme coin NFT retail focused product. Data and those areas as well, just seeing like an intersection of where there is a real problem that just cannot be solved off chain. AI is causing a ton of issues right now, along with all the solutions it's bringing. We can't genuinely trust the data we see anymore digitally, and we can't even trust the video of, say, Joe Rogan endorsing a product anymore on social media. I think blockchain definitely provides solutions there. Social media coming on chain, these sort of things. I think that's the sort of stuff we will be able to get exposure to early if we still believe in this space and we still want to get exposure to it. I don't know about, this is probably the most bearish I've ever been on NFTs as a whole. I'm really, I am consolidating.
And let me add to that. The most bearish I've ever been on short-term price action for NFTs.
Yeah.
I remain insanely bullish long-term, and NFTs are far more than just a PFP. I think everything we've talked about is happening. It's going to happen at scale. It's just, it might be more pain on the NFT PFP sector before things bounce again. And it might be years of pain. I don't know. I just think when this plays out, like we believe it's going to, there's going to be a base of collectors that they want some of the earlier stuff. They want to be involved. And I think this institutional stuff is great, but people that are buying an ETF, they're not active participants. They're just investors. They're retail buyers, but they're not coming into crypto. They're just diversifying their investment portfolio.
I would argue most of them don't know they have exposure to it.
Probably
it's
right.
from a pension scheme that, they are getting access to it because they would be silly not to, the way it's performed. But
they put their slider, their risk curve slider, it's 60%. Okay, that person's getting 1% crypto in their allocation, right? Yeah. It's that sort of stuff. Like, you're right. Probably a lot of them don't even have a clue that they're holding Bitcoin or ETH. But I do think it's going to take something like an NFT mania. I don't think it's going to be an NFT mania. I just think it's going to be something that brings actual retail participants on chain. And I candidly, I don't know what that is.
Could be a GTA, could be another side, where we just start realizing that any asset can be flexed digitally, in a web, like a metaversey world where you've got a car in GTA that you can only own on the game if you own it real life, a Rolex that you can, that world could come pretty soon in terms of the next 5 to 10. Obviously GTA 6 comes out next year, apparently, if it doesn't get postponed again. I'm with you on that. I think it will be another side. It will be a game that is really fun to play, where the assets are more than just built within their own economy. You can get them off chain, you can turn it into the US dollar if you want to, and the upside will just be ridiculous. And an article will come out to say these guys are playing video games for 40 hours a week, earning more than some of the best stock market brokers in the world right now. What is happening? And it will be an article like that, and probably a media train like what we saw in NFTs to come out, and that's going to be the moment. And I think NFTs will be a big core in that moment, but the time frame on that, I think we're definitely talking years, and not 2. I think we're talking 3 to 5.
I mean, good take. I'm hopeful it's sooner than 3 to 5 years. I think you're right, though. I think right now in my head, that's the most logical connecting is game.
Yeah.
And so if you're not already beating the other side drum, go give them some support. Even if you're not in there, if you're not participating, know that I'm not saying it's the great last hope for our NFTs, but it is certainly a hope for our NFTs. It's right now, I think, the closest thing we have to mass retail onboarding and participation on chain.
Yeah.
It is. Like, I don't see anything else that's even remotely close to what other side has right now in terms of with their partnership with Amazon. That thing hits, and the Nexus is a smashing hit. You got people coming in, like, they have the distribution. There is the path to see. Like, I'm not saying it's even likely, but it's probable. And whether it's November 12th or it's November 12th of 2027, they're building the thing that, could be the big catalyst. Maybe it is a established IP like GTA that does the thing. They come on chain, and then even the idea of, like you said, the only way to get this in-game asset is you have to own the real world thing. You have to own the real world counterpart. It puts a whole new spin on Phygital, right? Like, I could see. It's funny. I saw it's bearish, so we'll go one more bearish take, and then we'll end the show on a high note. This is from Punk's OTC this morning, following a Punk sale that sold for 33 ETH or 117K. Says Punk prices are headed a lot lower. Unlike broader crypto, NFTs are very 2021 meta. The excitement is unlikely to return when BTC rallies further. Also, the crypto participant base is different now and prefers to flex in other ways. So on this last sentence, maybe the ways they flex in the future isn't necessarily just a PFP on their X timeline, but it is those in-game assets. It is those in-platform assets and the avatars. Like, it makes sense as this plays out that's how people are flexing digital assets. And we already have the proof of concept. Like, it's already exists in things like Fortnite and Call of Duty. Like, skins are already a thing. They're already flexed in game. The copy pasta was from, never mind. Sorry, I got apparently Punk's OTC is copy pasting. Okay, yeah, this is
like an ironic copy pasta. People need to be careful there, like, because I just thought that was real. I didn't even
same. This guy Jonah bought a Punk for like 700 grand and 20 at the Pico top, and just sold it, took the L, and has just been doom posting Punk to zero.
Thank God for Dorp being on today to give us that TLDR before everyone dumped their Punk bags.
Listen, if you're dumping your Punk off something I say on the show, you're doing it wrong.
Me too. But look, I think it is. I think it really is then about the power of the network, right? Like, Punks need to still be relevant when it comes to opportunity wherever the space does go next. If it is metaverse, Punks needed to have early investment rounds in that metaverse. They needed to have content creators who are early to that narrative, and they need that relevance. Like, if NFTs overall pop off, Punks are always going to be a part of that. They're art at this point, so I think in terms of just Web3 growth, Punks are just so established in the culture. But for Bored Apes, I think that's definitely more of a narrative that they need to be early. I said 3 to 5 years. I'm talking about that's when the product's out there for retail and people are like, wow. I think within that 3 to 5 years, the people who are on shows like this or just in the space right now will see that opportunity earlier, and it will still be night and day to what it is today. We're talking the NFT bull run that we saw. We're talking within that time frame of 3 to 5 years, maybe in the 2, in the 1, even, like, once that product is visible enough and testable enough to be like, oh no, this is definitely going to be the next big thing, and we're here early. And then when retail come in and this thing is just a game that is played by millions and millions of people, I think, like that's a market we haven't seen before. That is a market that Ready Player One sort of style, like, people literally spend more time digitally than they do physically.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it happens. Years is probably an accurate timeline. You talk about infrastructure. I think other side has made big leaps and bounds advancements.
Yeah,
we may still be another evolution away from like all this stuff really happening. But I think the one thing you talk about being early, it's hard to be early if you check out. I don't know if this moment happens November 12th or in December or 2026 or 2029. But what I do know is if you go leave, and it doesn't mean you have to actively trade every day either. It doesn't mean you have to actively participate every day, but having a pulse on things, paying attention, it is how you're early. Because by the time, if you leave, and this is actually shout out to our guy Bunchu and Chamber, they said this, many times on the Mint Condition, the REKT podcast, like they did well on NFTs because they didn't leave during the bear prior to that. They stayed here. They continued to be active in the space. And when NFTs started popping off, they were early to it. They saw top versus, and by the time it hits mainstream media and quote unquote normies find out about it, those are often the top buyers. Or maybe they come in and they do okay, but you miss the the general wealth type opportunities because it's just by the time it gets to mainstream, it's oftentimes the 1000x type opportunities have already occurred. So it's like having a pulse on this space, paying attention, and exploring things that you find interesting. Like, don't force yourself into doing something. I'm in real estate. I find real estate interesting. I think that it just makes sense that real estate gets tokenized and it comes on chain and all the stuff we just described. So of course I'm gonna be paying attention. I'm going to participate in some of them. Will I be too early and some of them might have the right concept and it is the exact thing that ends up being the thing in 5 years, but yet they were just too early and the market wasn't ready for them and that goes to zero? That's probably going to happen. Probably going to happen a few times. But I would rather take those shots with disposable income and see it go to zero than believe this is going to happen and just stay on the sidelines for the next decade and then be like, I'd be one of those old men like, oh, see, I knew this was going to happen. I told you, I could have, would have, should have. And I was afraid to, I just left. I stopped paying attention or I didn't participate because, meme coins got dumped or something funny happened on October 10th that shook out the market and got us all liquid. Like, I think now is really the time to quote unquote lock in, pay attention to things you enjoy, experiment with things you enjoy, do it with capital that's either you're fine losing, or there's a lot of things you do without capital. You can just show up and participate. Like right now, we've been talking other side a lot of the morning. I'll pin it up top. I've got to go launch some rockets here this afternoon. I don't even know what it is, but I know it's a new program that it's like a community-based initiative. They're launching some rockets on the other side. And it's like, if you're there, if you're paying attention, if you think like this concept of gaming could be the next big thing and tokenizing these assets makes sense, maybe go participate over there. It costs you nothing. And maybe nothing comes of it. Maybe someday you end up getting a massive airdrop from Yuga or some third party because you were an early participant. Like, it's just, that stuff happens time and time and time again. It's usually very easy to see in hindsight, but it's not, if everyone knew exactly what happened, the opportunities wouldn't exist, right? So there's a lot of people that are fading gaming on chain because it didn't happen already. These are also things that, like, there's things to do in there. Like, it is gamified. You can have fun without putting tens of thousands of dollars at risk, right?
Yeah, look, I think for me, I don't know as a whole what is going to happen to the NFT industry as it is today in terms of all those OG projects that, we talked about meme land being in the points at this point. Like, I don't know if that is ever going to come back. I do think there is 10 or 15 projects that do exist today that are going to be the most valuable projects in a space if it does come back. But regardless of what you own or what asset you own in the space, I think if you are active within that space, you are going to do well. Like, whether it's that asset specifically, or as you say, you're just locked in. And because of that asset, people are talking in the circles that you're in about this new thing that does 1000x and you are early enough to capture that 1000x. I think that's a real inevitability, honestly. I really do. And I think at that point, that's where some of those assets will see upside again, where it's just like, did you know punks, like 15 of those members all got in early to this metaverse play or this, AI, NFT, crypto project, and that thing has now made all 15 of those guys millions and millions of dollars. All of a sudden, it's like, wait, how do I get into that club again? And it's like, oh, you have to buy an asset that is $100,000, and that's why that information was up to grabs there, because the people sharing it were very comfortable with how gated that community was, and the fact that they weren't going to get cooked for like early alpha. Like they were there, knew that community really well. I think that will definitely exist. I think being an ape holder and seeing other side melt faces in the long term and gaining value through that is going to exist. I think honestly, seeing anime.com and anime continue to do well and having an Azuki, that world is going to exist. And your Azuki may not be worth 10, 15, 30, 40 ETH again, but the opportunities within that ecosystem probably will, if you're there and you're tapped in. It's just becoming more and more of a game that isn't a hobby. Like, you know, you can't just buy that asset and hope it appreciates 100x right now. And for some big investors, for people who were chucking 100, 500k at the top into these assets, that's what they wanted, and they're not going to come back. It's going to be the people who have a little bit more time on their hands and still genuinely believe in this space. And if you really, really don't, yeah, maybe just cut your losses. Like, just cut your losses and go into the AI field like a lot of people did back then. That's be my only advice. I don't think those opportunities are there for those who are there for passive returns. I agree. I don't think you're going to get anything from it.
Not in the short term. I agree wholeheartedly in the short term. This is when markets are down like this, I believe the best way to maximize your time here, or the return on your time, is actively participating. Yeah. Can you buy spot and just chill? Yeah, you can. That's on a different timeline. And if you're looking to make money in the next 60 to 90 days, I think it's one where the best ways is to participate. I mean, one case and example is this Monad airdrop. You know, for being an active crypto Twitter participant, I got a Monad card. I haven't really done anything on that chain, but I'm going to get a nice little stimmy because I'm here every day. I show up.
I haven't even checked, Cap. This is how, like, I got added to a list. I don't know if I've
doesn't even need to check on the Monad.
Oh no, I'm not. This is the thing. I see this shit pop up. I'm like, I've got a show, and then my ADHD makes me forget about it until you tell me on this show. And will I remember before my next show in an hour? Probably not.
Well, let's do this. Let's wrap with any closing final thoughts here. We'll get you out of here, get you a break before your 4-hour marathon. I mentioned this Exodus Rising in passing. I did pin it up top. The TLDR on it: 60 communities on ApeChain compete to escape the outbreak, upgrade rockets, climb the leaderboard, and find the cure. Your community is the only way up. Here's how it worked: 200 launches per collection per day, first come, first serve. Max 2 launches per holder per collection. So if you hold any one of those 60 NFTs in the collection, you can launch 2 launches a day, 10 launches, max of 10 per holder total per day. You can upgrade your rocket to help communities climb the leaderboard, but any rocket may lead one lucky player to a cure. They're giving away a spacesuit mutant, and the community leaderboard sweeps are: first place gets 6,000 in Ape, second place gets $3,000 in Ape, third gets 1,000 in Ape. Rockets are limited. Outbreak is inevitable. Get out while you can. Exodus Rising begins here. It's exodusrising.xyz. And again, just one of those things that there's something you can go participate. Maybe you go participate. It's not your thing. You're bored. You move on. Maybe you enjoy it. Maybe it's a fun button clicking thing once a day. Button clicking can be profitable here. It's not all the button clicking, but sometimes it can be. So I think this is the time. Markets are down. You're not sure what to trade. Don't trade. Just go click buttons that you find mildly interesting. And if one of them becomes a winner, it was probably worth your button clicking. Not to mention, by doing that, you keep a pulse in the space, and you're setting yourself up to identify the next big thing, the next big meta, before everyone else finds out about it. So all that being said, I also mentioned I'd pin up the Ming ApeFest recap up top. It really is a good video. Go check it out when you get a chance. And most importantly, everyone who tuned in today, shout out to all of you. Appreciate everyone, as always, the support. And Jack here, let me kill the banner. If you've not yet given Jack a follow, I don't know what you're doing. It's handles right on the screen here, at JackGK_BTC. Go give Jack some love. Stay tuned. Like I said, I'm going to be tuning in because I'm curious what all you got going on today, and can't wait to see you in Miami. Did you say earlier when you get in? When are your
1st of December? I'm going to get into Miami, and I'm going to be there for the conference. I think the 8th is when I fly out. Yeah.
Awesome. So you'll beat me to Miami. I'm not coming down for the full week, but we definitely need to beyond just an interview. Need to make sure we get some FaceTime down there and
definitely.
Really looking forward to it, as well as everyone else heading to Miami. I actually just reminded me it's like a month away now, so I should probably. I'm not too much of an advanced planner, but we're getting that window. I should probably at least secure a hotel, because Basel is probably. I'm already late on the hotel front for Basel.
Yeah, I only booked it yesterday, dude, and it was not cheap. Yeah, I don't like to stay in really shitty hotels, and especially for location. But I did not pick a great hotel either. It was not great.
Yeah, last time I did an Airbnb on South Beach, it was fine, but it was like it wasn't not fancy. It was no frills, condo.
I like being able to get room service if it's been a rough night, and I like somebody there to tuck me in and tell me that your room is this, and there will be a cleaner there in the morning. Man, I can't do the Airbnb style when I'm like 24/7 on the go.
Depending on how the next month plays out, I might be soliciting a couch. If anyone has a couch in Miami.
Oh yeah, like you can definitely. I've got a couch for you. That's cool.
Anyone looking for like 3 or 4 of you looking for some roommates for our Basel? This is the state of the market. We're bunking together. We're going to do not an Airbnb with like 8 people. We're going to do a studio hotel with 8 people in it. We're going to bring in the air mattresses and the pillows on the floor. I kid, but Jack, truly appreciate your time this morning. Always a pleasure. You got a lot of fans in the chat. You're certainly an OG, and for those that are relatively new to coffee, like there was a period of time where Jack was basically our third co-host with Steve and myself. He's like a brother to Steve and me, and he's had an awesome come up in the space. Proud of you, sir, and really appreciate all your time. So I know you got a very busy schedule, and if you can find the time, we'll have to do this again sometime over the course of next month before Steve gets back. We'd love to have you back.
Yeah. I think Friday I should be free. And yeah, hopefully like a couple of the shows I'll be able to hop into, but yeah, dude, always a pleasure. And I miss these 2-hour chats where I can just go back into the space super bullish, because we've just talked out everything, every frustration, every concern in the market, and between the 2 of us or 3 of us, the bullishness has returned. Like I think these spaces, without him, I don't know if I would still be here. Like truly, like Coffee with Captain specifically, I don't think I would still. I wouldn't have the opportunities I currently have, and I don't think I would even still be here. So yeah, you guys mean the world to me.
Right back at you. Appreciate the kind words, and yeah, that's what we need. We just need the 3 permables on stage again to bring back the bull market. That's what we're lacking. Is Steve? We get Steve back here. We'll bring Jack on for at least one more show after Steve's back, and then we will just do a 2-hour full bull stream and bring the market back. We'll get the Coffee with Captain
live in Miami, maybe. Yeah, let's do it.
This might be it. This might be the you heard it here first. This is the alpha. The bull market actually kicks off. The real bull market kicks off early December, first week of December in Miami, and it'll officially happen at a Coffee with Captain. And because we'll be in Miami, it'll be full strength.
Captain. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Jack knows. Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Guys, if you haven't yet, the carousel's up top. We'll be back, as always, 8 a.m. Eastern. Fun rotation of co-hosts for the next month or so. But appreciate you all for keeping the chat popping and all the support. The abstract tips over there, Von Front and Pinstripe Gator. You are legends, and Jack, you're the real legend. Enjoy your shows today. And yeah, you're certainly welcome back anytime to join the conversation, and we'll definitely get you. I got to check Friday. I might have already made another commitment, but if not this Friday, we'd love to have you back for official, that actual co-host seat at some point, if not a couple times over the next month. And
absolutely,
always a pleasure, friend. Can't wait to see you next month in Miami. And Steve's not with us, but as he would say, we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.